the leaves changing colors. Just a beautiful time of the year. And it hasn't gotten too cold yet. I think the game time temperature is something like 66 degrees. Beautiful is Colwell. They lose the football.
Yes, he did.
Utah State says it's their ball. I haven't seen an indication yet.
One official says Utah State. There it is.
There it is. Emphatic now. So the Aggies on the first play of the fourth quarter, Utah State able to force a turnover.
Their second forced turnover of the ball game, the interception from Davis. Now Colwell on the Wildcat carry. I think that was Bo-J Filimoyatu right there. Nope. Yeah, it was Filimoyatu causing the fumble, or was that Zach Vigil? Filimoyatu causing the fumble, and I couldn't see who came up with it.
Your buddy AJ came up with the football.
So Utah State now winning the turnover advantage, and in that third quarter sort of got the time of possession back and number of plays back in sort of their advantage. 58 plays for New Mexico State to 48 for Utah State. And now, as we mentioned, Craig Harrison going to get his first action of the afternoon. We talked about this being a beautiful fall afternoon in Cache Valley. Gary Anderson early in the week said he hoped that a whole bunch of Aggie fans weren't out chasing Bambi here in the opening weekend of the deer hunt.
It's the fall break, hunting's in session, so not the kind of crowd you hope for, but still nice gathering of fans on hand. And they've had some great atmospheres, no question about it this season. At Utah, and that was tremendous against UNLV. The whiteouts, public participating in that. The herd was tremendous. But fall break, kids kind of go their separate ways sometimes. And, so it's not packed today, but still a pretty good setting for college football.
And in years past, this would have been a 7,000 or 8,000 person crowd.
It's amazing.
I got to believe you're 18 to 20 here still today. So the support coming out to see this changed football program for Utah State. And I think this is a good call to get Chucky Keaton off the field, give Craig Harrison a chance to play.
Utah State will keep it on the ground as the 45 to about the 44-yard line.
A couple of things that jump out at you.
Joe Hill.
Yep, a couple of things in the third quarter stats. Kerwin Williams, 13 carries, 83 yards. Chucky Keaton, 7 carries, 96 yards. Keaton was 16 of 26 for 257, now surpassing the 2,000-yard mark on the season.
Here's Hill again, cuts it back. Should have another Utah State first down coming in. Joe Hill, the sophomore from Fullerton, California, 15 carries, 136 yards, and 4 touchdowns in a marvelous game against Southern Utah back in week 1. Shaken up a little bit last week, but Coach Anderson said 100%. He does get a Utah State first down opening minutes here of the fourth quarter. And Devontae Glover-Wright is in as quarterback. Mr. Utility can play corner, can play receiver, get a chance to run. Taken down at the 35-yard line.
Did that a lot last year. College of Eastern Arizona.
Gila Monsters.
Gila Monsters.
It's amazing, Kevin, we've covered the Top of the Mountains Bowl game with Snow College and a myriad of other opponents, and it's amazing how many of those players that play in that game are on this field.
No question about it. A bunch of Snow College kids, Eastern Arizona College kids. That conference produces a lot of players that go on to the next level.
I believe this is Kelvin Lee, the freshman from South Daytona, Florida. 8 carries, 26 yards coming into this afternoon's game. And it's one of those young kids. Brooks kind of, his first report, talked about the young guys, those freshmen and sophomores. Sometimes will hit the wall this time of the year. And Coach Anderson, the biggest thing he wanted to see is those guys push through that and still be productive and still bring it to every practice and to every game if you get an opportunity. Make the most of it. Harrison. Van Leeuwen with the catch. Shy of a first down, so it'll be 4th and about 2. And it looks like, well, now they're going to bring Harrison off. I thought they might go for it. Guess they still can, but
wants to give Nick Diaz another opportunity here.
Mr. 50 plus.
He's going to get one close to 50 here. It's like a 48-yard attempt. I think this is an interesting. Coach Anderson wants to see his kicking game get the experience, get the confidence. There's no question about it.
And I think this is a good move. So from 48, can he do it again? He has done it. Diaz, 2 for 2 on long field goal attempts. Aggie fans taking a sigh of relief. The kicking game back in order. Looks to be a strength now. 41-7 Utah State. 8-yarder. Good stuff. You know, we talked about Utah State. They've won 10 of the last 13 games. Those 3 games they've lost by a total of 6 points.
The 2-pointer earlier against Wisconsin this year. The 3-pointer against BYU. And you know what was missing in those 2 games that could have made the difference? Final play of the game, a 37-yard field goal attempt against Wisconsin to win the game. And, you know, Utah State has just kind of gone through 3 different kids giving an opportunity to kick the football. And looks like the competition that we talk about day in and day out has got Nick Diaz now in position. And he's coming through.
All right, Kevin, let's talk about our player of the game, brought to you by GNC.
Kerwin, first play of the game, 76 yards for the touchdown. He ended up with 13 carries for 83 yards. And a touchdown on the ground, a touchdown in the air. Kerwin Williams, a week after going 15 for $176. Again today, making plays all over the field in the passing game and in the running game.
12:07 left, 4th quarter. New Mexico State with it. They'll start on the ground. Morrison trying to get the edge. Oh, nice block. How about the block that time by Trayvon Colwell? I think that was him. Spring Morrison for a few more yards. Good effort that time by the 3rd-string quarterback.
Looked like Morrison was going to be bottled up. We've got an injured Aggie on the far side. A Utah State Aggie, that is. So you're right. Here's Colwell finishing his play and getting out in front of Morrison and making the block. Right there. And Sweet finally able to collar Morrison, but I think it's Sweet.
It is.
Who's down on the far side for Utah State. Now able to get up under his own power.
2nd and 3 after the run by Morrison. Andrew Manley back into the ball game at quarterback. Morrison, they know where to go. Fackrell and company there to make sure he didn't gain a yard.
You talk about those 3 losses. Now a late penalty, maybe a little too much from Utah State at the very end of that play.
In Ohio.
Yep, the bowl game.
Yep,
the 24-23.
Famous Idaho Potato Bowl up at Boise. So we check the penalty.
After the play, personal foul, number 90 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Coach Anderson will not like Al Lapuaho's personal foul penalty here. I think he just continued to push as that play finished up. Really has turned into a good leader on this Utah State defense. Another Snow College kid, Al Lapuaho from West Valley.
Another guy that potentially could go to the NFL.
You can see him tapping him on his helmet, saying, be smarter than that.
Motion by Brown to the near side. Manley on the run. Caught by Franklin. Brought down immediately by Will Davis at the 31.
Asked Davis before the game, are you going to be matched up on Franklin? He said, I wish I could all game long. But it'll be dependent upon the formation, dependent upon down and distance and where the football is located on the field. But he, after getting burned early, has played a heck of a football game here this afternoon. This time right in position to make the play on Franklin. Not giving an inch. But a 24-23 loss to Ohio, a 16-14 loss with a chance to win it at the end with a field goal.
At Wisconsin. And a 6-3 loss in Provo earlier to BYU. Will Davis again bottles up Morrison. Back-to-back solid plays by Will Davis, the senior out of Spokane, Washington.
And I think that was a progression last year, because you recall how many games were so close. Every game, it seemed like, was going down to the wire in the last 6 or 7 weeks of the season a year ago. And I think they learned from that experience, as you see Morrison, a little flare route, and Davis bottling him up. Back-to-back great plays from Will Davis. But they've learned through that process what it takes to finish and to win. And now they've carried it into this season. And you could just see the growth and the maturity of this football program happening before our eyes, really.
Manley, the pass has time, now runs out of it. And the catch is made by Franklin, who got sandwiched as penalty markers come out. Devontae Glover-Wright and Alston in the area. They might say helmet to helmet or launching here. The catch made at the 45, so that was a first down. And it appears that they'll tack on more yardage. That was a 3rd and 16 for New Mexico State, able to convert and then some.
Personal foul, targeting number 20 of the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Right, Glover-Wright. It was a targeting foul. And a nice job by Manley. Watch right here. Manley's getting pressure from Zach Vigil and gets hit as he throws. Will Davis had slipped down, and you saw lowering the head by Glover-Wright right there. If he keeps his head up, that's probably a fair play, but he ducked his head. And that gets you the foul for targeting. But a nice play by Manley, standing in there in the face of pressure from Vigil and delivering the strike.
Well, to about the 30-yard line he goes.
Travis Seafelt in on the stop. First time we've called Travis's name here tonight. 6'2", 299-pound freshman. You know, you look at these underclassmen on the defensive front, getting a lot of opportunities. Nielsen, B.J. Larson, Seafelt, all these guys will be back again next year.
The strength in numbers, what Coach Anderson talked about.
No doubt about it.
He's really done an excellent job developing that in his 4th year with Utah State. Incomplete. We can go to Franklin. Franklin wanted to foul, as did Manley. That Lawson kind of pushed him after the play was over.
He kind of jumped up at him and kind of hit him with both arms. But it looked like, at least from here, it looked like he hit him in the shoulder pad level, not in the head.
Kind of talked about close games. Certainly this is not a close game, but during the last 2 years, 10 of Utah State's 14 games have been decided by 1 score, while 7 of the 12s have had the winning point scored in the final minute or overtime. As look at Coach Walker and what he's been able to do. It's a tough battle for New Mexico State, but I mean, done a tremendous job as a defensive coordinator at UCLA. Many people thought he might have a chance to get that job. This should be a tackle for loss by the Aggies. I think it was Alston in on the stop.
Well played. Yeah, you're right. I'm really curious to see what the Southern Aggies and New Mexico State, what they do next year. I mean, when I saw the
schedule, yeah, very interesting.
And you know, they've got Texas. They've got, I mean, when you look at the schedule, BYU on that schedule, they've got Minnesota on that schedule, and then they play Idaho twice. Almost unheard of in Division I football to play twice, but that's the nature of the evolution of conference realignment in NCAA college football.
It's hard being on the outside looking in, and maybe they'll have a chance here in 2014 to get into a conference. We'll talk about that a little bit later. 8:06 left. Utah State leading New Mexico State 41-7. 4th and 10, it appears that New Mexico State's going to go for it. Be able to convert on a 4th down earlier in the game, but it was 4th and very short. This is a 4th and long situation. I talked about it. 45% coming into this game on the season on 4th down, so a high success rate, but this is 4th and 10. 8:06 left from the 31. Manley, pressure, gonna be dropped. Utah State with a sack. Is that Jordan Nielsen? Amazing. The kid from Skyview has been remarkable.
It was McMillan.
Was it Tavares McMillan?
Tavares McMillan. And I believe that may be their first sack of the ball game after getting 13 a week ago, maybe the second here tonight. But what a time to get it on 4th down.
Yeah, there you go.
DeVaris McMillan coming off the edge, able to get the sack and turn the ball back to the Aggie offense.
Sophomore from Miami, Florida, coming in with 19 tackles, a pass defended, and now his first quarterback sack of 2012. State going to keep it on the ground. Lee reversing his field, has a block by Harrison, has a first down, cuts it back to the 38-yard line. Goes the freshman out of Florida, Kelvin Lee. So how about that? The Floridians with back-to-back plays.
And he had nowhere to go. Reversed his field, and you called it. Craig Harrison lined up the block, bottled up, cut it back to the other side, and now he finds Harrison right there for the big block, getting him down the field for the big game.
Pickup of 24 yards on the play. Is Glover right with it now, gets a nice block. He turns the corner, penalty markers down. Would have been to about the 5-yard line. We see the speed unleashed by Glover Wright.
Isn't that interesting now? You got Glover Wright, who's running third-team quarterback, and also got the penalty as a defensive back.
Holding, number 85 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
The holding penalty on Swindle.
He's done a nice job blocking. I know guilty that time. I thought it was a good block up to a certain point, and then maybe got outside of him.
Yeah,
just let him go. Yeah, let him go sooner than that. But he had a good block on the Keaton 9-yard touchdown run. The penalty yardage, that's in New Mexico State's favor.
That 15-yard penalty was a big one, though, wasn't it? Nullified a touchdown on their their first drive of the ball game.
Coach Anderson's going to call time.
Utah State.
With 7:12 remaining to be played in the fourth quarter. Utah State big, 41-7. Stadium, 7:12 remaining to be played in the fourth quarter. Utah State big lead here over New Mexico State, trying to win their 6th consecutive home game and their 7th consecutive WAC game. Here's Lee, the freshman, gets it to the 29. It's been a marvelous performance everywhere you look. Offense, defense, special teams, just a complete effort up to this point. I'm sure they'd like to finish strong heading into San Antonio with the first ever meeting with the Roadrunners next week at the Alamo Dome.
Curious to see that one. Texas San Antonio 5-1, their only loss a week ago to Rice. Really interested to see how the Aggies go into the Alamo Dome and perform next week.
Glover Wright had a huge run that was called back because of a hold. It's to the 26, maybe 27-yard line. Like quarterback at Eastern Arizona.
Now you're seeing a bunch of youngsters getting a chance to play on that front for Utah State. And I hesitate to even pronounce some of the names. Fisilau, Sini Talavea.
Fisilau, the freshman. On the right, gives it off to Lee to the 25. Lee getting a chance here in the fourth quarter. Have a look at our Lewiston State Bank play of the game. It was the very first play from scrimmage for Utah State.
What a way to start. 76-yard touchdown pass. Just a simple little flare route with some blockers out in front. Williams did the rest.
Nice run here by Devontae Glover Wright. Close to a first down. The third and probably less than one.
Glover Wright enjoying this. Now going to stay in and play wide receiver. Boy, what a versatile young man that player is. Playing defense, offense, quarterback, receiver. Nice to have that sort of versatility.
Harrison looking to pass, and he said he's going to be dropped. Boy, back at the 28-yard line. And that's Trayshawn Nixon, probably New Mexico State's best linebacker, not fooled and went after Harrison and brought him down. And another chance for Utah State to work on special teams and their kicks, as Diaz has been solid. I mean, a 53 and a 48. So the story was sacks to both teams. 4.5 to play.
Diaz now with another 40-plus, a 44-yard attempt.
And it's blocked. Terrific penetration by New Mexico State. Doesn't have a chance.
Canizares, I believe, was the one that broke through there and got the block.
So a block for New Mexico State. Stymies scoring opportunity for Utah State with 4:17 left. And no, certainly, I mean, something nice you can say about New Mexico State is they've certainly played hard in the second half.
They've kept playing, kept competing. Absolutely right.
They beat Sacramento State, an FCS program, Big Sky, Week 1, and then they lost to Ohio 51-24. They lost to UTEP 41-28 in a rivalry game. Lost to New Mexico in a rivalry game 27-14. Lost to Texas San Antonio. Just play well defended. And then they lost to Idaho 26-18. They had the bye. Extra time to prepare for Utah State, and trailing right now 41-7. They'll next have Louisiana Tech, which another prolific offense, so it's going to be tough for Coach Walker. But you know, I got the sense from speaking to him earlier this week that he is excited about next season. And they do return a lot of guys, 2 new coordinators, 17 different starters. And it's just they're going to be independent next year, so that's kind of curious to see how they'll manage that type of schedule. I think this is Morrison gets to about the 34-yard line. So we approach 4 minutes here in the fourth. For Utah State, of course, they look great against SUU, and then the big one against Utah. Beating Utah in overtime. Probably outplayed Wisconsin, came down to there's several plays with the missed kick, had a chance to win at the end. Colorado State looked good against Colorado State. UNLV kind of struggled with the Rebels up into that third quarter. Williams had a monster second half big game.
And then last week I thought maybe was their best performance. Put it all together. And then they carried that through to today.
A third down play. New Mexico State able to pick up a first down again on the ground. I mean, that's something they certainly wanted to work on. They've been able to run the football over 100 yards rushing against this vaunted Utah State defense, which would love to hold New Mexico State to just 7 points, because you talked about it. They give up just over 2 touchdowns a game. The best defense in school history, you got to go back to 63 when they allowed just 9 points a game. But that 20, allowing 20 points, that's kind of the benchmark of defense. And right now they're holding teams to, 14.9 scoring. It would drop, obviously, if they could hold New Mexico State to just 7 points. Comebacker is through the hands of Franklin. Well placed by Manley. They've got something here with Manley a sophomore, Franklin a sophomore.
No doubt about it. Cameron Sanders, I'm sorry, had the coverage there. Probably another ball that Franklin could have caught. You know, if they could have capitalized, I know woulda, coulda, shoulda is always hard to speculate on, but you know, the touchdown on the opening possession called back for the penalty. Franklin had one down the sideline on a nice ball from Manley that could have gone for some, possibly even the distance.
Nice pass caught on the far side up to the 44-yard line. Sets up third down for New Mexico State.
The coaching staff for Utah State came into this one a little paranoid, wondering, yeah, they're a little down at New Mexico State, 1-5 coming in. How are our kids going to respond? Well, Kerwin Williams took care of that on the first play of the game, and then they've just continued. I get the sense that this is a group that is very much locked in week to week, and that's a tribute to Gary Anderson, keeping them focused. They're now going to be bowl eligible. Well, let's not stop there, young man. Let's take it to the next level. Let's win a WAC championship.
3rd and 3. Manley going to try to run for it. He's brought down at the 40-yard line. Another sack by Utah State. As we are inside of 2 minutes to play.
Michael Okonkwo. Is that how you pronounce Michael's last name?
Okonkwo.
Okonkwo?
And the freshman out of Chandler, Arizona, coming in with just one tackle. Gets a sack. Coach Anderson talked about this team, and it's a different sort of team. They don't get too high, too low on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then by Friday they're lighthearted and squirrely. That was an interesting way to describe his team, and obviously it's worked as Cameron Webb makes the fair catch. I mean, they're going to improve to 6-2 on the year. I mean, they've won 11 of the last 14 games, and the losses have been close, so they've obviously been more competitive. That's another sign that this program is maturing and heading in the right direction. Before Coach Anderson took the helm here, they hadn't beaten BYU since '93. They beat them in 2010. They hadn't beaten Utah since '97. They beat them this year. So the gap is closed between BYU and Utah with Utah State.
Just going to say that the gap is completely closed now. They're equal on par with the other teams in the state, with BYU and Utah. And they're doing it primarily with Utah kids and Utah recruits.
This one, right. We didn't see this in the Top of the Mountains bowl game against Stowe College, but boy, he's fun to watch. We're seeing the speed and the creativity. He's kind of a jitterbug back there, darting his way, following blocks.
They list him at 6 foot and 170. If he's 6 foot, then I'm 6'9". He's more like 5'10", maybe 5'9". And the herd now with the winning team, losing team chant. Fun to see that at football games and not just at the Spectrum.
Lee gonna break one here. He's got a first down to the 44-yard line. The Larry H. Miller drive of the game.
One-play drive, if I recall. One-play, 76-yard dash to the end zone from Chucky Keaton. A little help from his friends, most namely Travis Reynolds on the outside with the big block that sprung Chucky down the sideline for the 76-yard touchdown.
I think this game is also good for next week, too, although next week's opponent doesn't have that football background, and it's got a better record than New Mexico State, but still this a game that Utah State should win. Of course, they should win here tonight. Obviously, they have done so, but they didn't look past New Mexico State. It felt like they were focused and ready and got the win. I mean, I think they'll need that same kind of focus and edge against San Antonio next week.
Well, and that man right there, Gary Anderson, does a great job of saying, hey, we're now the hunted. And that's a position we've never been in really before. And so you got to keep your edge in order to stay on top.
And they just surrendered one touchdown, that Utah State defense. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up after this. Utah State winners bowl eligible for the second consecutive year. Go down with San Antonio next week. Kevin, put a bow on it. What did you think?
I thought that they came out ready to play from the very beginning. There was no letdown. And when they needed to make plays, they did on defense. And the offense is continuing to crank it up. Overall, big win for Utah State. They're continuing their trajectory to a potential WAC championship.
We'd like to thank Utah State Sports Information Director Doug Hoffman. Thank you for watching this production of Utah State football. Our final score, Utah State 41, New Mexico State 7. Our next telecast will be in 2 weeks, Saturday, November 3rd at 1 p.m. versus Texas State on KMYU. The preceding was a Syscom Sports presentation for Director Trevor Stokes, TD Tyler Woodbury, and our entire staff, and Brooks Hanson, Kevin White. I'm Michael Clinton saying so long from Merlin Olsen Field at Romney Stadium in Logan, Utah.